While we were recording our Major League episode, Amanda and I revisited our early baseball fandom and the trauma that comes with an epic playoff loss. It wasn't related to Major League, but too funny not to share with our listeners. So enjoy as we momentarily turn into a sports podcast for about 10 minutes.
I remember as like a kid watching the Red Sox lose
a lot.
Especially in 86. Man, do I remember that 86 game. Eating popcorn in my parents' den and thinking, oh, the Celtics always win. Why can't the Red Sox win? What's going on here?
Not ever meant to
be. My little heart breaking in the mid-'80s there.
One of my earliest memories of watching baseball was the 1986 World Series. And my family erupting in cheers at the Mets winning.
The game where the ball went through the legs.
I don't remember watching that specific play, but I do remember that it was like...
I remember
it was a big deal that the Mets were in the World Series, and it was a big deal that they won. And I remember watching some of that live, which makes me feel fucking ancient. Because I think I was like 5 years old.
Yeah. No, I was like tiny little Red Sox fan, like lying on our stomach eating popcorn with the pillow on the floor kind of thing. You know, like you're a kid. You don't know the history of some of these franchises.
I didn't even register to me that they were even playing the Red Sox. It was just the team that my family was rooting for.
I had been around Celtics and Red Sox entirely at that point. Maybe like a little bit of Bruins, but like nobody
cares
the
about
Patriots
hockey
at that point because they were terrible. They care about hockey up in New England, but I didn't watch a ton of it because my parents weren't big hockey fans. Now we are. Whole nother podcast there.
I like that we've transitioned to being a sports podcast now.
Yeah, we've turned into like the sports gals. No, but growing up in the 80s was like peak Larry Bird era.
True, yeah.
Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, like Danny Ainge, Dennis Johnson. I can name their whole lineup. I'm going way off track here, but
that's all right.
Basically,
we're a sports podcast now.
Yeah. Now the sports hub here. Live up sports. But growing up with Larry Bird as your, like the local team always wins because we've got Larry Legend, that set my expectations. So when I was watching that 86 Red Sox Mets series, it was like, yeah, of course they're going to win. We like to win. We're good at winning. We win. And like didn't have the mental capacity to separate the sports from each other. We were 5.
But I do think that the 86 Mets were kind of like the ragtag team, though, in a way.
Probably. I didn't even have enough of a sense of them. I just knew, and I knew at the time, I knew the Red Sox players. You know, it was the Wade Boggs and all that era.
Yeah. I'd love to think that we were like on opposite sides of this. I do distinctly remember watching it as like the first time that I understood that we were rooting for this sport called baseball. I don't even think I knew the rules of baseball when I was watching it. And it was also at a time where baseball games didn't start at like 8:30. Like I remember watching it.
I had watched a lot of games up to that point, but that's the first distinct memory I have of watching baseball. Was
to get your heart broken?
Series. Yeah, because I remember...
By a New York team? I love it.
When they blew it, I just remember, like, turning to my parents being like, what is this? Like, I was so...
And they're like, get used to it.
We don't lose? And my parents are like, oh, yes, we do.
I love it.
Like, this is not the Celtics. We lose.
I think we watched the 2003 ALCS part of that together at Sarah Stanley's house. No, you were in Japan.
Too. I was in Japan.
You were there in spirit.
I was watching it live in Japan. And that, if everyone doesn't remember, like the Red Sox were up and it finally seemed like we were going to make it through the ALCS.
That was not the year that the Yankees blew it.
That was the Aaron Boone home run?
Yes, that is the Aaron Boone.
So that final game there, I'm watching it in the teacher's room in Japan where I am working as an English teacher. And the Red Sox were up, and all my coworkers, because they all really love baseball, but they were, who'd you have, Matsui at the time?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You guys had a Japanese player that they loved. I'm saying you guys, like you're running the
Like
Yankees
I'm running, like I'm the GM.
So they're all being super polite about it. Like, we love Matsui, but we really hope for your sake that your team wins. And in the back of my head, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do if they win, because A, they never win, but B, will I have to, like, fly home tomorrow and, like, be there for the World Series? I wasn't prepared to, like, take time off. And, oh, my God. So Aaron Boone hits the home run. Red Sox lose.
In the bottom
And
of the 11th, by the way, because it was extra
Yeah,
innings.
oh my God, that game went on forever. And I'd been saying to my coworkers, because they were patting me on the back, being like, "You're going to win, congratulations." And I was like, "Nope, they can still lose this. They always lose." And so after the Red Sox lost that game, one of my coworkers came over and he was like, "You were very smart because you knew what would happen."
Oh, that's
and,
funny.
You congratulating me on like knowing that the Red Sox are going to blow it. But then this woman who was like the scariest math teacher and like so severe, I see her with a dictionary and she's sitting there for like an hour and she's like writing things down, and she just comes over eventually, and she never talks to me. So I'm almost a little scared of this woman. I know all the kids at the school are scared of her. She hands me this note that says, "When your heart is broken, you must drink."
Oh my God.
And that's what she was doing with the dictionary for an hour. She was looking up how to say that in English.
Oh my God, that's adorable. And you're like, "Lady, I'm used to it with the Red Sox at this point."
No, but I was just like, "Oh, thank you." Like,
That's
I think I
actually
still have
really
that note
thoughtful.
somewhere.
You know, I feel like 2003 Red Sox is almost peak Red Sox. Maybe 86 when they lost in the World Series to the Mets.
You mean peak like peak heartbreak?
Peak heartbreak,
for the Red Sox.
and it just peak fuck you Yankees, you know, before they became the Yankees the very next year.
The very next year was the most overwhelmingly unexpected win.
I knew it.
And
I knew it.
you knew that was coming because none of us did.
I remember walking home. Elena and I went to go see it at a bar in Brooklyn. So we're living in New York at the time.
Was this the World Series or the
ALCS?
against New York?
Well, it wasn't the World Series. The Yankees didn't make it there. In the 04 ALCS, we went to go see Game 3, and the Yankees won, right? Because they go up 3-0. And I was like, Elena, I just, it's not going to end like this. It's too easy. This is not what it's going to be. I have a bad feeling. And then we watched Game 7 with Dario, we're still friends with in our building, who's a Mets fan, hates the Yankees. Elena, you know, grew up an Orioles fan, hates the Yankees. Red Sox win in Game 7, and I started crying. And then they felt really bad.
No. That's the proper order of things. No, by 2004, I'd moved back to the United States, and I was working for an eye doctor and answering.
Oh,
the
I
phone
remember
with
that
the
job of
trauma
yours.
line. Yes, because we all became very, very viscerally aware of ocular herpes. Because
I love the game Diagnosed.
I wouldn't stop telling you all about it. But aside from the Diagnose My Waiting Room game that I was always emailing you guys about,
gonorrhea of the eye is always the answer.
Yeah, it was pretty much some STD in your eye. Remember all those games went into extra innings, and we're playing.
Not Game 7.
No, not
series,
Game 7.
But yes,
yeah, the ALCS. There were multiple games night after night that were going till 2 in the morning.
Poppy had a walk off somewhere in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Robert's still second, Game 4, but I started answering the phone the next day, and all these people are calling, and they were like, "My eyes are twitching, and my eyelids won't stop twitching, and I'm worried I'm having a stroke. What's going on?" And by that point, the doctor had told me to say, "You need to get some sleep."
Right?
You're just sleep deprived. Your eyelids are twitching uncontrollably because you haven't slept, and your eyes are even twitching a little bit because you haven't slept, and just go the fuck to sleep. That's all. You don't need to come in. We don't need to do an eye exam. You've been up watching baseball. Everybody who's calling is worried they're having a stroke. Just get some sleep.
Yeah, I feel like that series was the last one I really truly stayed up so late. I mean, there were articles written about how productivity was down because all of New York was up till 2 in the morning. Some of those games ended so late. This is before all the rules now. It was good baseball, but I was devastated.
Well, all of your trauma from 2004 was complete elation up in Boston because we had been waiting our entire lives for that to finally happen.
I would argue that my solace, and I've told you this before, my solace is that the Red Sox became the Yankees starting right then. And so that's my solace, is that you became the big bad guy. And that's funny to me.
You know what? If it means we get to win, I will take that.